Hello everyone, this is Indrajit Ganguly and welcome to your history class. Dear students, in my last videos, I have discussed with you how the Indian handmade products dominated the international market. And you understood that how the Indian cottage industries gradually declined in the British Empire, which led to the deindustrialization. So, destruction of Indian cottage industries was a harsh effect in Indian economy and also Indian society. But in my today's topic, that is topic number 4, factories come up, I will discuss with you about how different Indian factories come up in the late 19th century, and these factories led the industrialization process, led the industrial development in India. But remember one thing, students, in India there was no such concept of industrial revolution like Britain, but there are many factories were set up in India, and these factories, they have a remarkable contribution for the industrial growth and for the country's development. Okay, you can see that first cotton mill came in Bombay, and that is in the year 1854. First jute mill came in Bengal, that is in the year 1855. Remember student, the first jute mill was set up in Risra. I hope you heard the name Risra. Risra is situated in Hooghly. So it was set up in Bengal in 1855. But remember, the first jute mill was set up by the British, not the Indians. Elgin mill started in 1860s in Kanpur. First weaving and spinning mill set up in Madras. So these are the early days of Indian factories, which was set up in the middle of the 19th century. Okay, now the question is, who set up the industries? Where did the capital came from? And who came to work? You can see that many prominent industrialists, they made a remarkable contribution for the setup of the setup of Indian factories. But there are some instances are also there. The jute mill was set up by the British, but there are one of the exceptions. You can see there are the prominent industrialists are there. They made some remarkable contribution. First one is Dwarkanath Tagore, Jamshedji Tata, Dinshaw Petit, and Seth Hukumchand. Okay, basically Marwari and Persian businessmen are there for the setup of the Indian factories, but you would be glad to hear that one Bengali businessman is there, and his name was Prince Dwarkanath Tagore. I hope you, Dwarkanath Tagore, he is the grandfather of Rabindranath Tagore and father of Maharishi Devendranath Tagore. So Prince Dwarkanath Tagore, he was the prominent Indian industrialist. What was his contribution? Remember students, the contribution of Dwarkanath Tagore is very important for 3 marks question. Because Dwarkanath Tagore, he invested in shipping, shipbuilding, mining, banking, plantation and insurance. He made his fortunes in China trade before he turned to industrial investment. But remember students, all these industrialists, they made their fortune in Chinese trade. Okay, and in this way they gained the capital and they set up factories. I hope Jamshedji Tata, you have heard the name of Jamshedji Tata. You have heard the name of the industry called Tata Iron and Steel Company. So he had some contribution for the setup of the TISCO, that is Tata Iron and Steel Company. Seth Hukumchand, remember students, Seth Hukumchand was the first Marwari businessman who established the first Indian jute mill. It is very important for 1 mark question. The first Indian jute mill was set up by Seth Hukumchand, very important. There are also other prominent industrialists are there like G.D. Birla, Ghanshyam Das Birla. I think you know that the Birla groups are also there in India in today's market. So these are the industrialists are there in India. So remember students, these industrialists made their fortune in the Chinese trades and they did not involve in the export of Indian products. They basically did their business with the British and they played a role of junior players. So they are not directly involved in the exporting of Indian products to England or other European nations. And remember, they avoid direct competition with British government. Suppose they believe that if the British manufacture clothes, then they will produce threads, coarse grains. So they will produce threads. So these types of activities they made. They struggle lot in the early days of industrial in the early days of the setting up of factories and looking for opportunities. And finally, the Indian industries got the opportunities, and the opportunities generally came during the 20th century by the Swadeshi movement in Bengal in 1905. The Swadeshi movement of Bengal have a very good history, has a very good context. Lord Curzon, he was the governor of Bengal, and he decided to divide Bengal between Hindu and Muslims, because he believed that if Hindu Muslims are united, it will not be possible to rule in India. Okay, if Hindu Muslim were divided, then it will be very easy to rule over them. That means that's why Curzon took the policy of divide and rule, and that's why he decided for the partition of Bengal on 16th October 1905. Whenever he decided the partition of Bengal, all the Bengali revolutionary, they started Swadeshi movement of Bengal. Okay, these Swadeshi movement of Bengal have made a remarkable contribution for the growth, for the peculiar growth, for the peculiar industrial growth, because because many of the Indians, they boycotted British products. They boycotted, they refused British products are burned. So in this way, in this time, the Indian factories, they are grown up. The India's factories developed their production, and by this there was a development of Indian textile industries. Next, after the Swadeshi movement, the First World War took place in 1914 to 1918. In these times, basically, the British factories could not supply products into the colonies. So obviously, during this time, because the British factories, they only fulfill the demands of war needs. So obviously, during this time, the import of British products stopped massively. So therefore, Indian factories, they supplied the clothes to all the Indian masses. So during this time, there also a development of Indian textile industry. So these two incidents get the momentum for the Indian industry. But after the end of the World War, still the British government still supplied the Manchester made products, but the British, you will be surprised to know that, but the British could not get the earlier market what they have before the First World War. So these are the reasons. So in this way, in the 20th century, we can see there was a industrial growth for the industrial growth in Indian scenario. Okay, now students, let me ask you a question. Suppose any Indian industrialist or any businessman wanted to promote his product. Suppose it can be detergent, it can be talcum powder, or it can be clothes. What did he do? Any idea? I think your answer will be advertisement. Obviously, nowadays advertisement is an attractive method to popularize or promote any product. Correct? Because from the advertisement, we will get to know about the details of the particular product. And obviously, in recent times, without advertisement, the world will not be existed. So, in the 20th century and during the 19th and 20th century, when India was ruled by the British Empire, the British manufacturers and merchants, they did the same thing to popularize the product in India. You can see that. So, my last topic from this chapter, that is market for goods. So, people are persuaded to buy new products. I'm sorry, I forgot the word buy. People were persuaded to buy new products. So, how was this done? It was done by advertisement. Advertisement is a very important method to popular or promote any product. So, during this time, through newspaper, magazines, hoarding, street wall, etc., advertisements were generally published of different products. Next, the British industrialists use level of as a mark of good quality. They use a level that is made in Manchester, in capital, in bold letter. in every product, the British industrialists, they use the label made in Manchester. Why did so? Because these product make a sign of a good quality. Third, use of images and illustration. It is a very interesting method. In your book, that is page number 124, you can see several images and illustrations were used by the British industrialists. You can see this is a child product, it is a Greipel water, and the British use the image of Krishna, Bal Gopal. For child product, they use Bal Gopal. Okay, now you can see in the next page, there is a advertisement of a detergent, Sunlight. So they used the images of Lord Vishnu. Okay, now it's a picture of cloth, so they use the image of Mahalakshmi. So for the products, for different products, the British manufacturers, they used the images of Indian gods and images. So it is a very interesting method. Next, now printing of calendars to advertise. I think you know that nowadays printing of the calendars usually used as a business card, used as a business card. Okay, but the British also did the same thing. Suppose they wanted to promote any product, so they gave a picture of a god, Indian god, and they define the particular product. So this was a very interesting method. Plus, the British manufacturers use the pictures of Indian emperors and Indian Nawabs, just like in nowadays. Suppose in nowadays, if any product, suppose a soap, a detergent, or any clothes use Indian celebrities or use Indian Bollywood star or sportsman, like in that way. Why did so? Because they want to popularize the product, they wanted to attract the consumer, right? So British manufacturers also did the same thing. They use the picture of emperors, Indian rulers, Indian Nawabs. Why did so? Because they wanted to prove to the Indian consumers that Indian emperors and Indian Nawabs also use this item. So you show all the Indian subjects, they have to buy these products. So this was a method. But now what about the Indian industrialists? You can see that the picture of gods, goddesses, the picture of Nawabs, Indian rulers were used by the British industrialists. Now what did the Indian manufacturer do? They have a one option. Now the Indian products became the sign of nationalism. Okay, that's why the Indian product used the label made in India. So by this, they wanted to prove from these products the message of nationalism. Not only by this, the Indian manufacturers used the Indian nationalist heroes like Subhash Chandra Bose, Chhatrapati Shivaji. It can be many regional heroes are there, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Rabindranath Tagore, different types of nationalist heroes, and also many popular national heroes also used as a figure to popularize their products. So this is it for the chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.